This is an observation that I made quite some time ago that I would like to share with you since it relates to a peculiar occurrence that is taking place in the world right now. They have all arrived at the same understanding: men are fighting a battle against women that they cannot win, and as a direct consequence of this, they are gradually withdrawing from the dating scene. What is happening is that men who are in influential and financially secure positions are distancing themselves from the dating pool. I'll explain why in just a moment, but first, let's take a look back at the 1970s and 1980s and examine how the dynamics shifted and new ideas emerged throughout that time period. After the free love movement of the 1960s, more liberties were granted to women, and by the late 1990s and early 2000s, women were finally allowed to express themselves in the way that came most naturally to them. As time progressed, the concept of pickup artistry grew increasingly popular among members of a variety of online communities. It was plain to see that men had figured out how to use their knowledge of women's minds to advance their own interests. At the same time as the dynamics of society began to evolve, new online communities and subreddits emerged on the internet, giving women with extra benefits. At least 8 years were spent by males from all over the world discussing the nature of women and the degree to which things had deteriorated while they were doing so. When it comes to engaging with women, many different kinds of males have banded together to discuss how the risk-to-reward ratio is abysmal and how bad it is. Even though the media despises it, it has actually helped people become more genuine. When one takes the red pill, it ushers in the beginning of a new philosophical movement. In contrast, if you discuss the blue pill with someone and get them to take the red pill, eventually they will see things from your point of view. The theory that taking the red pill will make you smarter is one that has been the target of millions of different refutations, yet in the end, it always seems to be proven accurate. Right now, there is a flood of honesty occurring all throughout the world. As a direct result of the increased likelihood of a woman's victory in a divorce case, males who hold enormous financial and political power, such as Johnny Depp, have seen their money and influence decrease as a direct result of the judicial system. This is the case because the likelihood of a woman winning a divorce case has increased. The fact that well-known and influential men are only now beginning to see what a risky game they are participating in is evidence of how far the world has come. The way things stand in the present. Once upon a time, wealthy men were considered untouchable gods. These days, however, wealthy men are losing their jobs because of something a woman said, despite the fact that they had held their posts for decades. Even among the most rich and influential men, the realization that no one is safe has led to the embrace of notions associated with the red pill. Not very long ago, Vince McMahon was the target of an attack that was quite similar to what happened here. Many gurus and internet superstars, like Andrew Tate, appear to find themselves in positions of authority. People like him aren't allowed in the end because they bring attention to the red pill, and the media just can't afford to have that kind of attention drawn to it. It doesn't matter how hard you've worked to accumulate riches or influence in today's world, all it takes is one woman's word to bring you to your knees. When women hold sway over their male counterparts, it doesn't matter how hard you've worked to amass wealth or influence. How long do you think it will be before all guys finally wake up and see the light about women's behavior? Assuming we all take the red pill, which many men have come to as their final philosophy on how people behave, how long do you think it will be before all guys finally wake up and see the light about women's behavior? Men such as Andrew Tate are good examples to consider. After gaining a lot of attention and likes from people all around the world, you come to the conclusion that the time has come for men everywhere to view women for who and what they actually are. Foresight into this future helps to explain why a significant number of high-quality males are choosing to withdraw from the labor force at the present time. They have merely come to terms with the reality that the rules of the game of money have changed and that charges of rape or other scandals might mark the end of their careers and personal lives. They have also come to grips with the knowledge that the rules of the game of riches have changed. The members of the MGTOW movement continue to be guided by their innate impulses. This is the one thing that has not changed despite the various developments that have taken place. Because women are not now at the bargaining end of the dating market, women are in a position to explain the fundamental explanation for the existing imbalance. This is why women are able to explain it. They are the ones at the top expressing their ideals and standards while males strive to fight for them, with the successful ones leaving the unsuccessful ones behind. For the past 2 decades, women have been the dominant force in the marketplace. Let's do a thought experiment for a moment and imagine that men suddenly quit sleeping and began acting more like men. What if men always asked women who use their bodies to exert power and influence why they should put up with it if all it gained them was 3 minutes of meaningless pleasure in bed? Women who use their bodies to exert power and influence would have to answer their questions honestly. There is no possibility that you are not completely out of your mind. What lies in store for me if I choose to embrace a more optimistic outlook? Many men, including those in high-value professions like acting and millionaire riches, are making the decision to leave the workforce as a result of assessing the dangers and advantages of having sexual encounters with women. This trend is especially prevalent among younger males. After the departure of these essential players, the remaining women will have no choice but to resign themselves to the position of playing second fiddle to the men who will no longer find them attractive. And if there is one issue on which everyone can reach a consensus, it is that women will never possess positions of true power, such as wealth or influence. This is something that everyone can agree upon. The majority of men billionaires and millionaires made their wealth through their own efforts, whereas the majority of female millionaires either inherited their wealth or legally gained it through divorce. On the other hand, the majority of male multimillionaires and billionaires can credit their success to long hours of labor and dogged determination. I won't waste my time trying to explain the answer to you because I'm sure you already understand it. The encouraging news is that market alphas are also picking up on these tendencies as they become increasingly obvious from day to day in the form of numbers like these. This is fantastic news. They are now of the opinion that they are on an equal footing with the rest of us guys. Women's dating habits are becoming increasingly selective on a daily basis. The dates that female market alphas set up for their Leviathan herds are typically disastrous for the men that the women choose to be their mates, and the female market alphas are the ones who set the tone for the dates. Because there isn't a whole lot to do in this area, which is probably something you already know, I've decided to go full MGTOW for a very long time with these men. The reasons for this are probably something you already know. If you're a young male going through hormonal changes, just wait a few more years and you'll see how anxious women are to find a partner and start a family. This is good news for you. If the MGTOW continues to rise at its current rate, men will begin to question why there is such a big deal about women and will instead spend their free time working on projects, participating in sports, and working out to stay in shape. The realization that this is the case has just dawned on a good number of men, and as a consequence, they report experiencing an increased degree of composure. In point of fact, a great deal of prosperous men have been doing this for many years. They might continue working on the photographic job after purchasing a new drone and using it. The amount of money spent on dinner dates was ridiculous and unnecessary. Take Leo DiCaprio as an example. He seems to date a different woman every 5 years and has no plans to settle down in the foreseeable future. Then consider the gradual reduction in the quality of life that occurs on a daily basis for married men. In addition, people are delaying marriage until later in life, and the number of people talking about changing the laws around divorce is at an all-time high. Because of this trend, males, particularly wealthy men, are coming to the realization that they are in a catch-22 situation. In closing, I'd like to point out the irony that in their quest for power and advancement, women have unwittingly made other women the subject of discrimination by enacting discriminatory legislation and stereotyping them. This is something I'd like to bring up because it's an interesting point to consider.